It's fun. Welcome everyone as you're sitting there and waiting in the blue room. It's not the green room here.
Oh.
Yep, that's coming through just nicely. Welcome again. Oh, there's one person. That's probably me watching from another thing.
Well, you shouldn't do that. Remember, last week there was a little bit of a issue.
Yeah. Well, I am going to drop the LinkedIn previewing over there because we'll see the chat coming through. Let me just drop in a nice message to everyone. Hi all. Oh wow, can't post to some channels. I think that is...
What'd you do? Did you get banned?
Nah. It's LinkedIn in Restream. You can receive messages, you can't post to them. So that's all good. That's all good.
Okay. Weird.
It is. Oh, so did you want to hear my story about?
Sure, Daryl.
Do you mean it?
Yeah, of course. I mean it.
Okay.
I want to hear.
So in our family, when someone says it needs work or you need practice, it's a compliment. And it's exactly like you would think, oh, that's insulting, or well, I think more insulting would be don't make that again, don't make that dish again, don't. But the flip side is actually it's almost a sarcastic, cheeky way of saying we loved it, make it again. We want you to get better at it, but we loved it, make it again. See how that works?
So it's a funny, like, that kind of like when you say you finish everything on your plate. The server comes by to get your plate and says, "Did you enjoy your meal?" And you say, "No, it was terrible."
Right. Yes.
Kind of.
And it's
cheeky.
Clearly, I want a refund. I've left a P on the plate. One speck of something on the plate. I didn't like it. I want a refund. Yeah.
It's a bit cheeky of, yeah, I get it now. So it's kind of an inside joke of way of saying I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot those graphics. The overlay. Again, fired. Fired. There we go. Now we're starting soon.
We are?
We went before.
Maybe we should get more practice. Anything else we need to talk about before we get to the business end of this conversation?
I don't know. Like, it's interesting that the big news is the Jack stepping down as CEO from Twitter.
Yeah, we definitely should talk about that so we can get more, like, our SEO will spike.
SEO. Right, yeah. As if, like, somewhere in the rating system, the captions or transcript for a YouTube video play into how high it gets boosted. Don't think so.
Well, of course it does.
Hey, for those who are joining us, feel free to drop something in the chat and say, oh, there you go, Phil.
Indeed.
Can't get the staff these days. You're right. You're right. I hope you're enjoying that collab summit over there, Phil. Looks like it's going to be a blast.
I don't think it's started yet, right?
I thought it started today.
Or has it? Does it? I don't know. Phil, tell us. Does it start today? Tell us.
Just drop that off there.
I thought some people were flying today over there, so I was
really?
assuming that it didn't start today. But hey, you know what assuming does.
Get you in trouble, mate. Get you in trouble. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Okay, well, it did seem like a quiet week this week, but we do have stuff to talk about, and that'll be starting in that many seconds. There'll be a slight delay as I...
So I have a bit of a long story. So this weekend, I was down at the corner market and...
Wrong one. That's the show. We had Daniel starting with a story. We're finished. No, wrong one. Well, you tease. That worked.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show this week. This is episode 221 of the 365 Message Center show, where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed. I am
Nicely
here.
done. Nicely done. I'm proud.
I am here. I'm Daniel Glenn. I'm here with my co-host, that guy, Daryl Webster.
Yep, that's right. We've got to remember which side of the screen we're on these days. Thank you, too, for Hilda joining us and Phil joining us also from Collab Summits. And so shout out to all those people that are meeting in person and enjoying each other's company and talking tech in real time with real dimensions. Fantastic.
For those that can, I know it's going to be a pleasure. Those that can't make it for various reasons, totally understand, but can't wait to see you and others in person at events. I'm fortunate and thankful that I'm going to be in an event next week for the Microsoft 365 Collaboration Conference in Las Vegas. So if you're there and you're a watcher of the show, or listener of the podcast, would love to talk to you. And I'm going to have stickers, and not just stickers for the show, which, by the way, the last conference I took stickers, I'd sit down a stack of them on the table where they had, and they'd be gone.
Really?
At the sticker table, they'd be gone when I'd walk up. Just 10 minutes later, people just and grab
10
them
minutes.
and run.
It took 10 minutes.
Maybe
No. No, that's cool.
But anyway, so stickers and something else. A little cool little... Anyway, I'll have some giveaways. So definitely if you're there, would love to talk to you. And if you attend one of my workshops or sessions, you can get some there too. But
Anyway, shall we jump in, mate?
Definitely.
All right.
I think we should.
This is the scene that we're looking for.
Yeah, first up is all about Teams rooms, right?
It is. Microsoft Teams rooms, MTRs as they're known. The funky little panels that sit on a desk and they're all connected nicely in the background to screens and microphones and cameras and stuff. Well, this message, it's not title, but sometimes it requires that. Microsoft Teams switch between multiple video cameras in Teams rooms on Windows. MC 30017. Simply put, with these funky little panels that you have, and I don't think we've got some pictures here. Yeah, we'll come down to those a bit soon. The panels that sit on the desks can be connected to various different equipment in the room, of course. And you'll definitely have some kind of mic. There are different configurations for rooms, different sizes, huddle rooms, big board rooms, all sorts of stuff. And some of these rooms are fortunate enough to have one very flash camera that will point and shoot and capture you and focus in on people around the room. And there's a lot of work that Microsoft are putting into hybrid scenarios where it just makes it a lot more natural and easier to have an equal experience of the Teams meeting. Part of the experience is to be able to have a content camera, a second camera that will point towards a whiteboard, a document scanner, or document camera rather. And what this update allows you to do is switch between those cameras so that you can bring the focus to the content that you want people to see. And so you'll be able to do that from the panel. So let's just have a bit of a look at some of that. We'll just go full screen, I guess. View that in a tab. And we'll use this scene because that means people don't have to squint. Or do they? All right. So here's our panel. We've got people attending. So it feels like you're in Teams. All those controls like mute and all that sort of thing. But underneath the cameras, you'll be able to choose a second camera.
Underneath us.
Underneath us. Okay. I wish we could sort of shove ourselves across the screen somewhere, but...
Oh, wait. The other way.
Sounds terrible. Yeah, do that. Okay. So let's just go to the squinty view for now. Here's our choice of cameras. So this is a Logitech something, whatever that is. And then we've got our choices in here. Select a camera. Right, so you can choose what your default camera is and what your content camera is. And cool thing, right, that you're able to do that and switch between those cameras from the panel. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. But that you've got a bit more control over the content that you can present to the people in the room and the people on the meeting. Daniel, do you think?
Yes.
Well, have you got these sorts of setups and meeting rooms at your place, or?
I do not. But doesn't mean they're not valuable, and although they are valuable because they're
Yeah.
but they are valuable, but we do not have them. But I feel like this functionality, this technology, is something that could be very useful when you are working and collaborating in what you might call the hybrid office, right? Where I don't think we're going to be everyone in the office at any time in the future. I really don't. I think this hybrid nature of work is going to continue. And so being able to show a camera on a whiteboard or some other content in a room is going to be very valuable for you to work with those that are not in the room. So I think it is useful, and I'm looking forward to seeing more innovation in this space.
Definitely. Great. Well, we'll move on to that. Yeah, I too would like one, Phil, an MTR thing. And I know some Teams MVPs have them set up so they can demo it from their home. Bit overkill though, right? Having a meeting. Coming to,
Maybe. I don't know. If they're willing to give me one to demo,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say
okay.
it's overkill.
No. Of course not. All right.
Anyway, so next up, this is big, people.
Is it?
Improved Teams guest user usability. And yes, the answer is yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
I think, to me,
Good.
it is.
Good.
MC30029. And this is all about, if you're a guest in a tenant in Teams, then you could select your account to switch tenant over in Teams in the client. Well, rolling out early December and through the whole month of late December, a couple of changes, updates to the client. First, a user will be able to decline a guest invitation within the Teams app straight away. So if you right now, without doing anything, if you get invited, you just don't click the link, you don't join, fine. But you're going to be able to actually go in Teams and decline it so that it's not still sitting there as an invitation for you. The second one is the one that I probably will use quite frequently. If you see the list of my tenants in Teams, it's quite long, is a guest will now be able to initiate leaving an org, being able to say, hey, I want to get out of this tenant via the Teams app. Yes, it'll take you to the portal for where it'll guide you through that experience, but we'll have that option right there in the Teams client. And then the third update we're getting is, and I like this a lot because it helps keep things tidy. Just like we have Teams, we're able to hide Teams that we're not using that often. Well, now we're going to be able to hide tenants that we're not using very often. Maybe for like me, I'm in tenants where for community events, right? And I do those ever so often for that in that tenant. But I don't want it sitting there as a choice for me, go ahead and hide it. So you'll be able to do that as well. As a guest, you'll be able to hide a tenant in your listing. So it says you don't need to do anything to prepare for this update. However, I would think that you do need to train your users, especially those that are guests in other tenants, making this available as an informational, here's what it is, here's how you do it, kind of message for your users. There's no change with permissions or functionality, really. This is just making those options available to you straight away in the desktop. What do you think, Daryl? I know it is not new functionality, like I just said, right? But it makes it easier to have that link, right?
Well, it's my reflection on this. It's quite interesting. The message is about improved guest user access, but it's all about turning that access down. If you go through it, it's how to decline an invite, how to leave an org.
Daryl,
Yes.
usability can be about reducing the clutter.
Reducing the use. Yeah. No, but you're right.
Yes.
Like, I think especially for
You're-
consultants like us, where we've got tons of different orgs that we're tenants that we have in our list, that's going to be fantastic. Reducing that list. And
Yeah.
there are a few teams and tenants that I do want to leave, but there is no easy way to do it. So I'm looking forward to this update.
Well, let's go back, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Our next message, let's go back to video in Teams. And
Sure.
let's get some updates on a couple of items that we've talked about, but are not being delivered on the timeline that were originally communicated.
Yeah, so this is something I think we even mentioned it last week. Let's see. Yes, it was published on the 16th of November, so, well, quite recently. Updated Mirror My Video. This fantastic feature that we talked about last week, where it's going to help education and people who need to work with content behind them and point a camera at it, but it's all backwards. You can mirror your video. We're looking forward to that, but this update has now been pushed out to late January is when it'll start rolling out, previously November. And yeah, there's a list of the following updates as it's all pushed out.
We were even, kind of excited about, hey, they're even calling out government, DOD.
Yeah.
We like that. But yeah, DOD's getting it like April.
Well,
Start of February and late April. So
Yeah.
sorry, but you're getting it still. It's just delayed.
it's noticed something too, Daniel, that the rollout times are being extended too. I think it's a bit more realistic, but to say like something that's rolling out will start rolling out in January and finish a few months later. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And in fact, the next message, that's exactly the same thing. The next message is updated image tags in SharePoint. We talked about this many weeks ago, but it is being pushed out. So no updates on the functionality, so you can go watch that episode. But it is rolling out instead of October, which was, last month. It is now rolling out late January through early March. So they're giving it at least a month and a half-ish, as we say around here, ish, to actually roll this out for, and we have started seeing this more, like you're saying, in other messages where, we're getting these updates, but they're taking a little bit longer to roll them out. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of gauge when you're going to get it at this point. When am I going to get this? Yes, it's a month and a half or 3 months rollout. When am I actually going to get it? So for right now, it's going to be kind of difficult to gauge that with a longer rollout time.
As I look at this message and its format too, there are some that talk about where and to what level the change will happen, that the change is rolling out tenant-wide or site collection-wide or user level. I like to see that in there because some of these changes that come in, it might arrive for you as my workmate and team member, but I don't have it yet. So it's cool to see that sort of thing called out in a message too. Unfortunately, it's not this one, but anyway.
Indeed. And so that is MC 272451.
Actually, before we move along from these messages of updated messages, Daniel, let's have a brief discussion about the challenge of trying to keep up with these messages that are updated. We do see the bracketed prefix that gets added to a title. You can go in and I'll just kill the favorites view and jump back into message state updated. So that's another way to go through and see updated messages and see what's changed. But is there anything that actually calls it out? I mean, it gets bumped to the top of the list, doesn't it? When it's ordered by last updated.
Yeah. It if you're syncing, to Planner, for instance, it's going to update that card. But I think that is the biggest wrinkle in keeping up with changes in Microsoft 365. I do a talk about this. How do you keep up with change? And, you talk about, here's how you get the information, the different channels you get the information from, the various methods, and then how do you communicate that out to your community? But I think the biggest wrinkle that most people don't consider or talk about is things that are updated. It could be that it's pushed, like we just talked about, the rollout time, or it could be functionality changes based upon feedback or the way, they've seen the rollout happen. They want to change it a little bit. So that may change also the communication you've already sent out to your users.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that communication is about setting an expectation and preparing people for that change. And it's one thing to say, it's on its way, so keep your eyes open. Here's when you're roughly going to see it, when it gets pushed out. And look, we're not saying that, terrible Microsoft, you're taking far too long to deliver these things. We know that there's pressure on everyone to try and create these changes and improve the service. So, but yeah, for us, it is a challenge. You do need to get into that habit of going back and saying, what has updated? Do I need to reset that expectation? So you're lucky if you've got an organization which sees that as a role and allows someone to make that their focus along with other kinds of change.
Indeed.
Hilda, she had a good comment,
Yeah. When things get suddenly removed, she's saying that, has more problems with that. And without, without notification, 100%, when you're relying on some functionality, whether it's part of your process or just something you're used to, and it all of a sudden gets moved or removed, then that is definitely tough.
I think actually that's poor practice here in the message center, that when it does happen, it's definitely frowned upon. It's better to have that message still there but updated and keep people in the loop of what's happening. Yeah. But we're into a callbacks section, Daniel.
Yes. It's we've got a couple of great callbacks. And the first one we're going to do, I really don't know which one it is. Oh, it is Microsoft Forms.
Yep.
Manage and organize your forms and quizzes now. MC282783. And this is done. It's rolled out.
Now? Okay. As in now?
Now.
So let's do it now, right?
Now.
All right.
So
here we go.
Daryl, flip it. Flip the switch.
Flip it. Skadoosh.
And it's going to show different scenes. It's going to be fantastic. Those on audio, bear with us. Okay, here we go. So we're showing the Forms homepage. This is just when you're in 365 and you go and say, I want to see Forms. At first, it just shows, you have your button where you can create new forms and you have your recent forms. But then if you click on the All My Forms link right there, then you go to My Forms, and this is all of your forms. There's a bottom link down there that says Show More. But what I wanted to show is that you have this button called New Collection. You're able to create collections and manage your forms and put them in those collections so that you can kind of keep track of what you're doing and what they're for. I haven't done it yet, which is, I just haven't had time. But, I create forms, for instance. I'm going to create some forms for next week for the 365 Collaboration Conference, and I will put them in a collection so that I can manage those and know what they're for. It is sometimes difficult in the forms site to see, what is that form for? Because when you name a form, that name is on the form. Right? So people who are responding see your name. So, adding some sort of naming scheme or ID number or something like it's just a little bit messy. So creating these in a collection and organizing them that way is the best way forward.
That's a great point. That's a great point because there's a administrative name of how you want to manage your forms, and then there's the public name of what the form is.
Indeed, yes. So you should have that now, and go ahead and create you some new collections in your form service. So, Daryl.
Yes, sir.
We have another callback. Office.com.
Let's get back to having a look at those messages. Yeah, let's find that. Office.com updates. No, remember it was that one that we like. Is it about the Office updates or Office? Yeah, anyway. It is more about your experience of going to office.com as your landing page. And like Daniel showed us the current or maybe old view, well, I'm going to show you what's actually starting to roll out. So let's get back into our other view of things. Bring up a demo tenant. Here it is, people. Not bad. I know there's a bunch of loops and fluid documents at the top there for recent documents, but you know, it's your all-up view of documents that you have been working on. But what is different is your quick access, the different filters, a way to be able to find content recently opened. It's good to, you know, pin things like favorites and make sure. In fact, I would have expected that to be called pins, so maybe it's going to transition to something like that. Be able to create your own view. So what type of document I'm looking for. Ooh, live components. Yeah, why not? Can I go back in there and change the filter? Nope. Let's try that again. Interesting, right? This is a live walkthrough, a live reaction video. Daniel, feel free to go, oh, wow.
What?
Oh, wow. 10
so
things you just
impressive.
wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
All right,
Your
what
clicking
was the
is
other
so
one?
impressive.
Type. I think meeting's a good one. Let's see what meeting comes up with. So it'll have a meeting and any attached related documents.
Which is
So
huge,
that's cool.
yes.
So I might save that one. What else have we got? Other types, video, other. Okay, well, location. What's location? Cloud, local. Local file. No local
Nice.
file content yet. I wonder if that's got to do with,
Office, I bet.
yeah, or even like progressive web app, because it potentially,
I don't know. That'll be a good test. How about those that have this in their tenant? Go ahead and test this out and let us know what you think, and hit us up on socials, 365MCS, and give us your reaction. I'd love to see
definitely. One of the more common ways that we do try and find content is who was it that I was sharing this with, or who was I working with on it? Who did I talk to about it? So all those sorts of filters. But this is just part of the view, right? So as you go into a very useful view of things called My Content, this is fantastic. I think Mark Kashman did a blog as well on this too, so we'll try and find the link and drop it in the description. But yeah, flicking through and using some more of these filters. Why didn't I just do this before? Go on, Daniel. I know you want to.
Nope.
Nope, you're not going to take the bait on that one? All right.
Nope.
Yeah, Daryl, why didn't you do this before? Cloud files. I recommend, I mean, these sorts of views are awesome. I know that people are used to using OneDrive as a syncing engine, and they can go to their Explorer and use it via Windows, but more and more I'm using OneDrive as my files Explorer for the cloud. And so this page, office.com, and this new view, I can jump straight to project teams. I can, go to documents that way. Here we go. Straight into it. Fantastic. Or even your view of, what documents you're working on there too. So to break it down to the different types of documents that you might be working on. Here's all the Word documents. And a similar kind of view. Who shared it with me? Was it an attachment in an email? Did I edit it? Fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
What's the creation experience like? Create. So I think
Nice little
that
icons.
was, yeah, well, definitely. Oh, there we go. I was waiting for that to come through. Your templates, and I don't know, was there supposed to be organizational templates coming soon? It wasn't going to be
Yeah, I
there
think so.
initially.
I mean, let's check. Like, you have list templates in there.
Yeah.
So what's that?
I would say these are all
lots of
just
them.
types
Yeah.
of templates,
Right.
but
That's right.
I would expect to see soon, or maybe I just need to configure it, organizational templates in here. Yeah.
Yeah. Spiffy.
Yeah, definitely. So looking forward to seeing that. And so, you know, we only had a couple of messages arrive this week that seemed to be interesting enough to talk about as message center items. But as you can see, there's still plenty happening and changing and arriving, even the changes to changes, updated messages.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, indeed. So it has been a quiet week. We had in the U.S. The Thanksgiving holiday last week, so I'm sure some of that is some of the reason why we don't have so many messages is probably because of that.
Yeah.
And like I said before, make sure you follow us on the socials. Make sure you give us a like. Click that thumbs up button in YouTube. If you're on LinkedIn, click the clap button. Maybe this week is clap. Go ahead and click the clap button.
Well, we are definitely posting more there because we tend to be reaching a business audience. So if you haven't followed that page too, then do that.
Yeah, definitely. Follow our LinkedIn page and our other social channels, and make sure you subscribe and give a little nudge with your nose, with your little frosty nose, because it's kind of cold here in the U.S., on the bell in YouTube, so you get reminders of when we go live.
All right. Well, that's it for the week. We'll see you again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.